Hello, my name is Michelle Houck, and this is my module for reflection. Um, when I started thinking about my instructional learning plan, I wanted to change. I wanted to pick something that I'm currently working on. That way, hopefully, the work that I'm doing is going to, one, help me kind of get a bit of a feeling for what I'd like to do for my accumulating experience, but also be useful in my classroom for what I'm currently working on. That way I can kind of use what I'm learning, practice with it this year so that next year it is a little easier. So I picked a English 11 high school lesson. It's not really a lesson so much as a series of lessons, a project. And the end goal learning objective is that students will be able to make connections between the play The Crucible and modern day witch hunts. So in the past, they've been assigned um, a modern day witch hunt, so post 9/11 and such. And they have to do research about that witch hunt and make connections to the play and then present it to the class. And the idea is that through this learning plan, it will not only improve their writing, but also improve their presentation skills. So, to do that, I thought I would use social learning. And social learning really has those four big key factors. So, attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. Um, so, as of right now, I really want to focus on online learning communities and sort of integrating that online community building into the classroom and using it to help students improve their writing. And I think a lot of that really connects to social learning. So, attention is in order to learn, observers must attend to the modeled behavior. It's been found that awareness of what is being learned and the mechanisms of reinforcement greatly boost learning outcomes. So, um, for me, a big part of that is the second piece, right? The awareness of what is being learned. Many of my students do not fully grasp why they're learning what they're learning. That why question comes up a lot. And I think being more aware and specific as to why we are learning specific things, how does it affect us, how will it connect to other subjects the rest of their life, is important. And I think that can be easily done um, for this project as well as integrating it into the learning theory and easily integrated into an online platform. So retention, in order to reproduce and observe behavior, observers must be able to remember features of that behavior. So retention really also reminds me of that modeling aspect of the Merrill model, which I have really done a lot with, but I think it makes a lot of sense in this, right? To reproduce something, you have to know what it is in the first place. So using models, using examples, creating community-based expectations is going to help them retain and understand what the expectations are, and really add to their understanding of their learning. The fourth bullet point is reproduction. This can require the input of others to provide self-correcting feedback. Newer studies on feedback suggest or support this idea by suggesting effective feedback, which would help the observation and correction improve performance on participants on task. Excuse me. So part of that online community that I'm really trying to work on is the idea of students having the agency to learn how to give feedback. what that means, how is it useful, how is it used, and growing their confidence in learning to do so to improve their learning and understanding as well as their peers' learning and understanding. Um, and this reproduction piece seems to really support that feedback idea. So, not just doing it once and then never doing it again, but reproducing and self-correcting. And that's really one of the reasons I enjoyed the social learning theory is I think that within this project, generally students are assigned a witch hunt, they do the research, they do a presentation, and really nowhere within that model are they asked to look at someone else's or really look at their own and find the things that are not working or that don't meet the expectations. So I think really that would be a big focus of my learning plan is figuring out how to boost kids' reproduction, feedback, um, and self correction. And then the last one is motivation. So having a good reason to do the project. So motivation from the past, right? Traditional behaviorism, incentives, seeing and recalling reinforced models. I think motivation, I believe, is very difficult. And I think, especially at the high school level, motivation and attention really become key concepts. I'm not huge into random incentives by any means. And I think that's where the reinforced model comes in, that they're motivated to learn because they understand why they're learning it, they understand why it's important, and hopefully the topic of which connects to them in some way or is interesting in some way, and that leads to that motivation as well. Of course, motivation within schools are also dependent on things like points because, that's how we've taught children to learn. So that, of course, would be a part of it as well. So that's my general idea for this model, for this behavior. And I think that's social learning is going to be the basis of my further project.